We got ourselves team 2 together with Beast. The locks over for that team. All right. I still got to go back to Kara and get this mount, man. It looks so good. The Warlock set looks amazing. We got ourselves Daniel CO as a Feral Druid with Fang on that team with Scarlet joining over for the team 2. Going to be first up as a, I want to say Frost Mage? I'm seeing Icy Vein, so I'm going to say Frost Mage. Scarlet making a return though as a Frosty. I remember Scarlet was a big Frosty last, what is it? SL? I think it's the first time we see Scarlet of Dragonflight. Gonna be ringing Frost immediately over to Diabolics. Freezing all these pests. Diabolics is gonna be taking damage from the fire and the frost, breaking him out of those freezes, breaking him out of the shattered stone into Scarlet as they're trying to get counter-offensive. That's gonna be big obelisk. All these pets surrounding Scarlet. Absolutely decimated. Scarlet may be in a bit of trouble. Has all the time in order to stay alive. Is gonna use it, but still not quite recovered in health where they need to be. Is gonna go for the improved invisibility to try to see if they can escape all these pets, slowing them down in the Halo Blizzard. Looking for a big glacial spike versus Diabolics. Mad crit with a big shatter does put Diabolics behind, and it's going to be an ice block for Scarlet as they do go for a full reset. Already using human racial, does not play with a trinket to get out of the crowd control, so for Diabolics could be an opportunity just to establish a couple of fears. Back to CC does land an interrupt on Diabolics, blink out of that spell stone. That's going to be a gateway. Scarlet trying to see if they can surround him with a ring of fire. Scarlet so far is a little bit ahead in terms of cooldowns, in terms of health. Diabolics does have pretty big defenses, is going to be able to catch up with the Soul Burn Hellstone. Diabolics keeping his range away from Scarlet, setting out the Demon Doggers, but the Warlock does not really want to charge out that much by themselves. It's going to go for the Axe Toss, interrupt the Scarlet on a Frosty spell, summoning up a Tyrant. Scarlet getting locked down back to back. It's going to be a lot of interrupts. Scarlet could be in big trouble. Oh my god, the Tyrant does end up ramping. That Tyrant got a few hits in there. That is super unfortunate, but what can you really do in that type of situation? As a Frost Mage, especially when you get locked out, man, that's rough. And to go down to follow. Diabolics does want to get himself a setup, but right now, offensively, he doesn't have a lot of cooldowns. Maybe a good idea just to buy himself some time. CC Chicago going to be Capacitor Totem right next to him. Chicago doesn't get to move the Capacitor Totem last second. Is going to double stun him with a Thunder to follow. Quite a bit of damage from Chicago, actually. Diabolics does get himself a wall. Could potentially just go in for full cooldowns off of this wall. Chicago does drop down a Grounding Totem for just a second. Diabolics with the fear. Going to be a full Tyrant. It's going to be Chicago taking a bit of damage, slowed down by the Curse of Exhaustion. The Tyrant doing quite a bit of damage. The pets are fully empowered. As long as the Tyrant is out the open with an Axe Toss in Chicago, could be really deadly, maybe in a bit of trouble. Chicago could go down. Those Demon Bolts from the Tyrant are so strong right now, as the Tyrant is trying to see if he can readjust and get himself a cast off or two. But Chicago does end up dealing with it quite handily. Does fall behind quite heavily on mana. They're using that mana to keep himself afloat, but right now kind of drained. Could be locked down for quite a bit though. That's going to be Axe Toss by the pet. Does not sit on Axe Toss long at all though. That's going to be dots. Load him up, I think, with the Curse of Doom. That was Curse of Exhaustion. And Chicago does get a melee Diabolics. Quite a few hits. All they got is a melee hit with an LA Blast. That was quite a lot of damage altogether. But Chicago's under a ton of pressure with a Wrathguard or Felguard striking them down with his axe, taking them out really quickly. Dano CEO charging in, popping all the bleeds and dots on the Diabolics, immediately goes in for a Dark Pact to protect themselves against the Rips and the Moonfire Seers of Dano CEO. So it looks like the lag and a little bit of that stutterness that we had over in the EU continues on into the NA. I wonder if this is spectator mode that causes it. That or if it's just like all arenas are like this. Axe Toss on the Daniel, but Diabolics is bleeding out from behind the pillar, maybe in a bit of trouble. Does get an eyeball spawning in, needs more demons in order to stay alive. Does get Demon Doggers in, needs a heal, but Daniel is gonna go in, slamming those jaws and just gonna around the neck of the Warlock, taking him out fairly quickly like a big old guillotine. Snap it upon him. Daniel is trying to see if he can go for a stun reversal and triples, but he doesn't get hit with a force switch. It's going to be immediate chicken, wall, defensive, everything's going to use as he's trying to see if he can survive the winter frost that is Chill Pills himself. But Chill is getting a little bit more healing back with this update for his death strikes, may give him a little bit of survivability. And Chill Pills very limited on what he can do right now. Maybe he can go IBF. Does use IBF to survive the blaze. Has got himself Death Pact first, so does use Death Pact in order to give himself a little bit more health. Using that IBF just to reduce some of the bleed damage, even a little bit. Got himself the big grippy head as he does grip in Daniel with a silencer follow. Definitely needs some kind of a proper stun onto Daniel CO, but I don't think it's going to happen. He needs to find a way to get this Feral out the open. Try to see if he can pull him away from behind the pillar. Does he maybe get him out of your weed out? Try to stand next to the door, but there's just nothing is going to happen here, man. Tried his very best, but does end up dropping with Goku. Actually, I guess he does have Dano CEO right away from any kind of pillars. Is going to put him in a bad situation. So at least while Chill Pills does not get the slam, he does get to put up in a more advantageous spot for his team, as Daniel just getting mauled down by the army of the Scourge Baby in so much trouble. Unless he can escape all these pests. Looks like no Death Knight, no grip by the Death Knight. Does see a Mages of the Dead trying to get some cast around the corner. The Grippy comes out. There's going to be a taken charge by the main pet that does end up rooting Daniel out in the open. Does Goku have enough to finish him? Just throwing out death calls as best as he can from around the pillar. Daniel no health, and it is going to end up going down as Goku does end up finishing him off. That was a rough one, man. That was a rough one. Is the new patch? It's coming bug? Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I had no idea if it was like the people zooming around, if it was just me and Spectator, or if it was just like a common PvP thing. Hoping they'll get fixed by next week. There is quite a lot of bugs, but hopefully they'll end up working them out little by little. Gonna be Demon Dog is sent in over by Beast that locks as Goku. Gonna have to see if he can summon up an army of dead of his own. Does have cooldown. It's gonna be an IBF, but a Mortal Coil runs him out with a fear. But it's actually gonna be a Mortal Coil putting him in a behind the pillar. Goku try to see if he can summon up big A-bomb, potentially Army of the Dead. Does he have the Gargoyle? I don't think the Garg should be up right now. Fel Lord joining in. This is where Goku needs to be very careful with positionals, as the Fel Lord is going to go for swings back to back, knocking down Goku. Going to be a stun by the Death Knight. Does have himself a Death Bag, but those swings from the Fel Lord are going to be quite impactful. Goku trying to see if he can get himself a bit more damage out. Got himself Death Bag. Can't really heal right now. May need AMS something, anything right now. He does end up not really getting a lot of recovery, but he just has enough bolster down. Actually, may. Oh my god, turned around with a little sliver of health that he had, turned it around onto the Warlock, kept trucking the damage, kept believing in himself, and Fang is going to be able to knock him down as the man is basically a walking corpse and no health whatsoever, barely surviving a Warlock, narrowly escaping the wrath of the Legion. It's going to be Fang getting hit with a Stormbolt, does end up going for a Trinket. That's going to be Gohan leaping around the corner, trying to see if he can reconnect. Fang trying to see if he can find himself an escape. Is going to go for a big enrage regeneration, trying to go for as many Bloodthirsts, disarm for disarm, as Fang is going to be able to get himself at least a little bit of health, put up a bleeds onto Gohan. It should be able to get a couple of Bloodthirsts here back to back. Gohan has a bit of an advantage as he just has more health on Fang. Going to be a quick fear by Fang as well as Gohan charges in. And Fang, does he have any more survivability whatsoever? I think it may be over. Just the clock ran out. The ampity got way too high. There's only so much he can really do about it. That is a rough one. With Daniel catching 2 kills, but so did Diabolics. Goku did go in and does end up narrowly getting himself a kill, dude. How does this man survive it? I know you're literally a Death Knight, but you can't just be like undead and undying in the arena, man. What is this? It's funny too, because Death Knights recently did get nerfed when it comes to magic damage. I guess the Demonology War, like, quite a good portion of it is physical. So maybe that's where the Death Strike came into play a bit. Let's get ourselves another group going, boys, yeah?